You must be careful about the words you use, or the words you allow to be used in your house. Words are things. You must be careful. Careful about calling people out of their names, using racial pejoratives and sexual pejoratives and all that ignorance. Don't do that.
It's time to talk about it.
Pull up a chair and take a seat.
We're serving up recipes for life.
With Hampton University's Dr. Richard Mason and Dr. Tamara Williams.
Welcome to the Sunday Brunch.
This is Dr. Tamara Williams.
And this is Dr. Richard Mason. And welcome back to the table for another edition of Sunday Brunch with the Good Doctors.
The good doctors.
Welcome
Indeed.
back. How you been?
Listen here, bro. I am not even going to kid you. Your sister has been under somebody's foot with somebody something this week, but it doesn't stop what we have to get done. And so I am glad that we have a long table today, Sunday brunch, so that I can keep all my journeys to myself and we can still enjoy our good food and conversation at the same time.
Listen, you know, I'm always hand sanitized down and I keep my spray bottle.
And I'm thankful for that. More of us need to be that way, but it's just that time of year. You know, it's just
Yeah.
that time of year. You know, we have bipolar weather in Virginia, so it's in and out. It's in and out. So I'm gonna try my best to keep my germs, but I'm glad to be here nonetheless. Like we say, it's good to be seen
And
and not viewed. That's right.
Exactly. So how the kids doing this week? Maneuvering and everything or whatever? Because, you know, dealing with exams, midterms and all or whatever. How have you managed?
Listen to me. I've had so many babies in my office. I've had to socially distance them, you know, because we're also doing registration. So we're getting ready
Mm-hmm.
for the next semester, but they're right here now at the midterm point. And some
Mm-hmm.
of them are in their feelings. Those who are like juniors and seniors, they pretty much are adjusted. And some sophomores are really now just getting into
Mm-hmm.
the coursework, the more difficult coursework. And so, you know, and they're ready for homecoming.
Yes.
So, you
Yes.
know, trying to get them to stay focused, they're doing amazingly well. I'm really proud of my students this semester. They have really stepped up, especially with their research projects and the things that they're talking about. So I'm really proud of them. They're doing well.
Well, that's a good thing. I know this is always a little nervousness around this time, especially for our freshmen, because of course this is the first time they've actually taken a college midterm. So some of them are a little anxious and all or whatever. And so just
And
trying
ready
to,
to get off a
yeah,
curfew.
yeah, that part, you know, that's a big piece. But just telling them, you know, hey, it's going to be all right. You know,
Yes,
let's
it
see
is.
see how it goes, and you know, we make adjustments. You know, we always learn to pivot, and so I think for them, it's just learning that whole process.
Tell them it's just another exam. This
Exactly.
is one of the many more you will have in class and out of class for the rest of your life. So, you know, you learn. And part of the growth process is learning how to also become more emotionally mature. So
Mm-hmm.
your parents handled things for you before, but now you're in college and you're learning how to do some of these things for yourself. And it's a growth process. So I
Mm-hmm.
love to see them grow. And even this week, I had got to do some work with the Hampton City Schools and bringing some mentoring students in with the Living Library. And I had one of
Mm-hmm.
my former psychology students who graduated probably about 8 years ago. She
Mm-hmm.
was in there and she was mentoring the students. And I was just
Mm-hmm.
so proud to see the progression of all the things we get to do and how
Mm-hmm.
important mentoring is
And
and
that
giving
that
and
that
giving back.
exactly, and that's huge, especially as it relates to what we do here at HBCUs. You know, it's one of those things that people gave to us, and so it's incumbent upon us to give back to them. You know, give them our time, give them our talents. You know, and of course we want their money too. You know, in church we
You
always
hear
say
what I say?
we want those tithes, but you know, hey, that's what we want as well. You know, when it comes to our HBCUs, and it's such an important time for us, especially for homecoming, as an opportunity for alums to come back and give, participate, and so that the underclassmen get to see what it's like and what their roles and responsibilities should be as an HBCU alum, because we do things different. We have that unique experience.
I mean, if you have not been to a HBCU homecoming, you have to go. You have to go. It's a beautiful thing to see um, just people and the music, the bands, and all those things. And so I'm excited about
Mhm.
our conversation that we're going to have today.
Oh,
I'm
definitely.
excited. We've already started this conversation, but I am excited about our guest that
Mhm.
we have with us at the table today.
Mhm.
I have dined with her recently. Yes.
Okay, okay.
Um, but prior to this recent time of us bumping into each other, we hadn't seen each other in like maybe 25 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
25 years.
Okay.
But I want to welcome to the Sunday brunch table for the first time, and definitely not the last time,
Mhm.
Dana Davenport, Esquire.
Hey
Okay. Welcome.
sis, how you doing?
Hey, hey
Yeah.
there, hey there,
Welcome.
Spelman
Welcome to the
sis.
table.
Happy Sunday fun day, good people. How you doing?
We're
Doing
doing
great.
well.
All
So
right, all right.
excited to see you. So excited to see you again.
Listen, it's
And
good to be here. And it was all serendipitous how we came together,
Mhm.
reconnected, and got to talking about Hampton. So this is just, you know, meant to be. So I'm thrilled to be here with one of the fastest activations of what I've got going on. So thank you so much for having me.
That's good.
so, look,
Welcome.
before we jump into why you are at Hampton and why we're having this conversation, do tell our listeners just a little bit about just who you are in general, so that
Sure.
yeah.
Mhm.
Sure. My name is Dana Michelle. I am an attorney, but I also co-founded the Homecoming Challenge. And that is a go back, give back campaign. When you go back to your alma mater, when you come back for homecoming, you are encouraged and challenged by us to pour into students.
Mhm.
Um, we started this in 2017 where we would pop into the dorm rooms. You go back to your freshman dorm room, you say, hey, my name is Dana. 30 years ago, I used to be in this room. Now I'm a lawyer, I'm a mama, I'm the co-founder of the Homecoming Challenge nonprofit, and we are here. I'm here to just give you a little change. Our suggested
Mhm.
donation is $20, which goes a long way for a college student. That could be a month's worth of ramen noodles. Uh, but we encourage people to go back and spend some time, pour into the students. I always leave a business card with a little bit of
Mhm.
cash, and I
Mhm.
put them in envelopes. I slide them under the door if the students aren't there with an invitation to just reach out. Sometimes they respond, sometimes they don't. We're pivoting a little bit while we're at Hampton this year. It's our first
Mhm.
activation. So I'll talk a little bit more about how we're going to pivot because we're not going to go to the dorms, just for security reasons. President Williams prefers us to meet up elsewhere, but we're
Mhm.
still going to keep the
Okay.
same energy of
Mhm.
coming back and giving back when people come back, giving to each other, giving to the students, not only giving to the students, but also giving to Hampton. It's a great
Mhm.
way to endear alums back to the school by connecting with actual students. Um,
Mhm.
I think it's a missed mentoring moment, which is what a
Mhm.
homecoming is, because you got alums coming, they're doing their own grown folks thing, and you got students on campus. But what if we get them together? What if we create
Mhm.
an opportunity for them to talk? We've had incredible stories of people realizing that they share the same hometown. So you got alums and students talking.
Mhm.
They're from the same place, or they have the same major, or they have the same
Mhm.
Greek, affiliation or interest, right?
Mhm.
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 Um, all of those things, which is so much fun to discover. And then that alum becomes part of that student's network.
Mhm.
Let me know if you need anything, little sis. You
Mhm.
know, I'm
Mhm.
here for advice, little brother.
Mhm.
I was in your shoes 5 years ago.
Right.
Well, listen,
Um,
let me ask you this because I've done the give back, go back to your dorm room each year,
yeah,
and what made you think, and I did it because of course I saw people starting it on social media. So it was like,
yeah,
hey, so we just started doing, but just never knew where that came from. So it's good to be sitting amongst greatness who really,
yeah.
started this idea. I think is
Mhm.
wonderful, so where did that come from?
Hey, pass me the syrup. You're so sweet. I
Right.
appreciate you.
Right. He
I
lines it up
appreciate
there.
you. I am an alum, just like Dr. Williams. I'm an alum of Spelman College, and
Mhm.
Yes,
um,
indeed.
we had a friend from school. His name was Myron Burney,
Mhm.
and he was Mr. Homecoming. They called him Mr. Morehouse, Mr. Homecoming, because he was always about celebrating life. celebrating good health, celebrating good times. He was the one that threw all the parties at homecoming.
Okay.
He also worked at Morehouse and then eventually became a recruiter also at Elizabeth City State University. Is that right? Elizabeth City.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Myron passed in a car accident. Very tragic car accident. And his best friend and myself got together and we said, what can we do to honor Myron? He was always encouraging people to give back to students and to give back to Morehouse. And so that's where the Homecoming Challenge was born. I used to host a podcast when I had more time pre-COVID.
Dana being Dana.
Exactly. My show was called Dana Being Dana.
Okay.
And on the 9th episode, we launched the Homecoming Challenge. My co-founder, Chris Evans, Morehouse, class of 98. Chris, on the podcast, challenged all of us, there were 9 of us at the time, when we go back to Spell House, go back to the dorms. That's what he and Myron had done for years. They were roommates freshman year. That's what they had done for years. And just spend a little time. It takes you 10 minutes, you know, and it can be a lasting impression. We started it in 2017, and my girls from my room in 2017, I am still in touch with today. One has graduated from Vanderbilt with her master's degree. She's an executive. She works at L'Oreal. And the other one is a doctor. So I've stayed with these ladies throughout their college career and followed them beyond Spelman's gates and have just been a support system, you know, and a resource for them ever since we met. And they actually weren't even home when I went to their dorm, my old room. They weren't there. So I slid the notes under the door and just prayed that they would reach out, and they did, which was awesome. And we've been doing it every year since. I bring my freshman year roommate. I don't know if you remember Janelle Payne, Dr. Williams, but Janelle and I go back every year. I didn't go back this year because I'm now here at Hampton.
Because you're here.
Because I'm here. Exactly. But it's beautiful because my family is from Hampton, the Hampton Roads area. My mother grew up in Norfolk. So, you know, Hampton's like that's why I didn't go to Hampton. I love Hampton, but I couldn't be too close to my grandparents. But I'm thrilled that my bonus daughter is a freshman at Hampton. She lives in Kelsey. And if that's how I came back, and I told Dr. Williams that I was thrilled that I have a family connection, in addition to my Spelman family, to come back and visit Hampton. So it was really nice to come back for move-in day, and it's great to be back again now for homecoming. So let's go.
Yes, I am excited. And let me tell you, Dana, that you know my freshman roommate, and you and I were in the same freshman dorm at Spelman. Yes, indeed. HH Phi Beta.
Phi Beta.
Yes, indeed.
The best dorm.
The only one that I talk about. And so, exactly. All of that.
They throwing those Spelman gang signs.
Gang signs.
Listen. Don't play with me because I still remember the step. You hear what I say? Like, yes.
You don't want this smoke.
I know the whole, you hear. We were serious about that thing. We were serious. That year, it was Set It Off was our theme. And
Absolutely.
And we set it off to the point where we could no longer do it after that year. We were
okay. They canceled freshman week
because of us.
Dr. Williams got crunk.
Listen to me. I was not. I wanted all the smoke back then. I had a great time. It was a great. And I say all that to say that my roommate has gone back and given back. And then last year I was able to go back because it was our 25th reunion and meet back to my dorm. It was a very emotional moment for me to go back to the underground of HH, which is what we call it. And it was also very touching to me to meet the ladies that were in the room because they were both psych majors. And both me and my roommate were psych majors. And so, you know, it was a nice thing. And then to see them out in public too. They wanted to hang out while we were at homecoming. I was like, maybe not. This is not the moment.
Right.
You know, but we will
it's a mentoring moment.
Right. There was a lot of people out there. And so I was like, this is not really the time for that, but let's continue to reconnect. And so I'm thankful that you thought of this idea. And when you say like $20, look, we're not telling people that's all they can give,
Oh
but we're
yeah.
saying, yeah, but bless them with, you don't need, like you say, you don't realize just what the thought of receiving that would do for someone.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. People have interpreted this in so many different ways, and it's really just kind of what's on your heart or what's in
Hmm.
your wallet. But some
Mm-hmm.
people, one of my favorites was at FAM. One woman took her student. She said, "What do you need?" And he said, "Ma'am, I just need groceries." So she
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
had pictures. She took him to Walmart, and he had a shopping cart full of groceries and just
Mm-hmm.
blessed a student. Remember, Kroger was down the street from campus. People
Yes.
people take kids to Kroger, it's whatever the people are comfortable with, right? We don't
Mm-hmm.
give hard and fast rules. If all you have is $5, right? If you have no money, just stopping by and giving a business card,
Mm-hmm.
give a dap, a hug, whatever people are comfortable with. But it's just creating an organic mentoring moment,
Mm-hmm.
being able to pour into these students, because I think people need encouragement and love now more than ever. We're living in
No,
crazy.
Mm-hmm.
they do.
Absolutely. We're living in
Mm-hmm.
crazy times, and there's a whole lot going on. And I think a lot of people have gone through a lot just to get to college. So the
Hmm.
homecoming
Mm-hmm.
challenge, while there's all kinds of pre-freshman programs and things like that, the homecoming challenge targets kids who are already in school. We want to help you stay there. One of
Mm-hmm.
my favorite stories is people who had accepted the homecoming challenge and stayed in touch. They learned they shared the same major, which was computer science. And the
Mm-hmm.
young lady at Spelman was experiencing difficulty with her required laptop. The laptop that she had wasn't working, malfunctioning, and so
Mm-hmm.
she was losing points every day that she didn't have her laptop. Not only did she share this with her newly found mentor post homecoming, but that mentor posted a note in our Spelman Moms chat thread, like said, "Hey, anybody in the Atlanta area with a laptop, that they don't mind a student borrowing." Somebody had an extra like iPad or notepad or some laptop that they were willing to give to that student. So not only was the homecoming challenge alum able to secure a laptop for the student, she also called her old professor and put in a good word so that student, got those points back, wasn't losing points, just kind of able to network and create a dynamic of looking out,
It's a
right?
Mm-hmm.
big deal at Spelman because
It's a huge deal. It's a huge deal. And just those are some of the little things that can just bridge the gap, because
Mm-hmm.
we all know, some people are in school and it could just take one thing,
to
Mm-hmm.
derail them.
one
Yeah.
bad grade, one
Right.
bad grade,
Mm-hmm.
one moment, one time, people lose scholarships, and they may not come back. And
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
so the possibilities are endless. People have gotten jobs, they've gotten networked, they've had all kinds of opportunities because they, lived into the homecoming challenge and what it represents. So it's just an opportunity, which it's really cool to see. And I'm thrilled that
Mm-hmm.
President Williams is allowing us to bring it to campus. I met him at the send off here in Chicago, which I
Mm-hmm.
love those freshman send offs, which was great. I met him and his lovely bride.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the fact that they're both Hampton alums. And then I saw him again on move in day when I was moving my bonus daughter in. So it was pretty cool. He gave us a tour of the calf. And that's when, I was told, he's like, you should talk about the homecoming challenge. And that's what I did. And so he was like, this is great. And it just went from there. Dr. Williams was instrumental in connecting
Mm-hmm.
me to the right folks. And so we'll
Mm-hmm.
be on campus this week promoting the homecoming challenge and just encouraging everybody to give back, not only to Hampton.
Mm-hmm.
And we pivot a little bit. We customize it for every school. So at Hampton, it's the come back, give back.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we are encouraging, coming back, giving back,
Mm-hmm.
not only to students, but to Hampton as well.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And I
I
would tell you
love it.
for the climate we're in, I mean, and it's not that we're in a different climate. HBCUs have always needed its support of its alum,
Absolutely.
Period.
and it's not the amount, although we want lots of dollars, but it's the fact that you give because we need the number
The
of people
numbers.
to give,
Yep.
and that's
The
the big
percentage of
part.
alums. The percentage
Exactly.
of the alumni base. So even
Mm-hmm.
if it's $5, it moves you into the giving side of the alumni base versus the not giving. And that
Mm-hmm.
leads to so many opportunities for funding for these
Mm-hmm.
HBCUs, sponsors, endowments. They want to see that the community is invested. And
Mm-hmm.
what way, the Homecoming Challenge has great synergy with the universities because we approach alumni and encourage them in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
In a different way. And what can endear you more than a student that's there, a student that you
Mm-hmm.
connect with? People have given and donated to the schools because they feel an affection, an appropriate affection, but a fondness to the students that they've met. And so it's just a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful thing. It becomes a win-win for everybody. It feels good to give back. It feels good to surprise somebody with something positive
Mm-hmm.
and something encouraging, and these kids just, once they get comfortable, they just open up,
Mm-hmm.
they ask for
Mm-hmm.
all kinds of things, support, help, networking, and,
Understanding.
absolutely,
Right. Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And people, other people do this all the time without thinking
Hmm.
about it,
Right.
and it's time that we good people come together more and support each other more and make those connections, make those introductions. And that's what the
Mm-hmm.
Homecoming Challenge is about.
it,
Mm-hmm.
it creates a positive environment for the student as well, because it makes them feel nurtured and seen. And
Mm-hmm.
then imagine each year it could be a different alumni that's pouring into you. It's a different alumni. It's a different alumni,
You could
multiple
have more than
alumni.
one.
Yeah, you can have
Absolutely.
Right.
multiples.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Absolutely.
that, and I can tell you that even though I say my students are doing well, I students come and tell me when they're struggling. And it's not unusual for a student to have a hard time adjusting to new demands in the new environment. It
Mm-hmm.
takes time to do
Absolutely.
that. And so
Right.
I think this is a perfect time mid-semester to jump in there when their hair is down and they're trying to relax, and they can then be receptive to receive such a great blessing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the doors that are opening, when you talk about meeting someone who can actually have say, I've been in your shoes, I understand. Oftentimes students aren't necessarily listening to mom and dad, but someone
Hmm.
else who can come along, especially if mom and dad didn't go to college and they don't
Mhm.
have this HBCU experience, connecting with someone who has, and especially when you say, hey, I lived in James Hall 212. So I was that kid for me 30 some years ago, so to be able to say that, and they look at me like, wait a minute, so you do understand nothing is new under the sun. We all face these types of challenges and stuff like that or whatever, but how do you overcome? And it's because you have the right people pouring into you, and so they will tend to open up. And so it's always good when you have people who are willing, alums that are willing to come back, have those conversations, and like you said, if giving nothing but $5, $10, whatever, just be a support. It makes a big difference.
We love to get the kind of money that jingles, but we'd
Hmm.
rather have the kind of money that folds.
Hey,
Yes.
Remember that from Coming to America?
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Randy
But it's
Watson.
Randy Watson. But that's why it's giving. Your time is what's most valuable, and
And I
so
tell you, that is so valuable.
it's so true. It's so true.
Hmm.
Did you know 1 in 2 students on college campuses goes hungry during the semester? Right? At some point during the
Hmm.
semester, kids are missing meals. And
Hmm.
usually the money runs out when? At the end of the semester.
Hmm.
And when is the end of the semester? What's happening? Finals.
Yeah.
So kids are in the throes of the most critical time and not necessarily having access to nourishment. Um,
Hmm.
One thing I love, and I love this going to different schools and promoting the homecoming challenge, because I get to learn and do a deeper dive into some of the traditions at the school. We do a brother sister exchange at Spelman and Morehouse where we meet our classmates, but
Hmm.
there's a big sibling, little sibling exchange at Hampton, uh,
Hmm.
where it was kind of funny because my bonus daughter got a male Hampton student, which
Hmm.
which was awkward to me because
Have
I'm like,
mercy, have
you're supposed to
mercy.
get a sister. Like, what does this mean? But I love that, and
Uh-huh.
and this is a different way to kind of emulate that same tradition that
Hmm.
Hampton has with the big sister, big sib, little sib exchange,
Hmm.
which is really really cool. And so, I'd like to see these alums show up like the big sister, little sisters that they were when they were in school. It's just
And
Now listen here,
that
Dana.
lasts a lifetime, though. I'll tell you, because I'm still in touch with my big brothers. I'm still in touch with my big sisters, you know. And so it's always good when we travel for different football games or they come to homecoming. You know, we see each other, you know, on a regular basis, and we look forward to reconnecting. You know, that's that extended family, the village, and all. You know, my kids' aunties and uncles. You know, so
Mhm.
that's how that works.
that's
And
what
let
we
me
do.
tell you, Dana, I think a way that you could take it even to another level is at Hampton. They
Come
do
on.
it. They do it by ogre classes. They have names
Yes.
by classes, so
Yes.
you can
Onyx,
challenge
Scotty.
which one.
Yep.
Yes, you
Hmm.
can challenge the different classes to see who could, give back the most, or, post the most photos of them with their actual mentees now, or that type of thing.
Yeah. Absolutely. Dr. Mason, do you remember what's your class name?
You know
Oh,
he
most
know.
definitely.
You
I'm
better know he know.
Ogre 5, Ogre 7.
See?
Yeah.
Oh,
Ogre
over
5,
what?
Ogre 5, Ogre 7. So you'll see 050 around. That's Ogre 5. We are the original class of
Come.
Hampton University. So we are the first. And so we are the longest running class. We have the longest running class name at this point.
Like the Frederick Douglass of the
There we
ogres.
go. Booker T was an ogre.
Listen.
I love
So,
it.
and as much as you hear him stand up for his class, all the other ones will have something to say about theirs as well. So,
They
that'd
are
be
not
a
as
way.
important. They're not as
I,
important as
see,
ogres, I'm gonna tell you.
I knew he would
So
cut it off.
can you tell me the names? I know there's Onyx because this year's class is Onyx. So
Hmm.
my bonus daughter is Onyx. I think she's Onyx
Hmm.
14.
Hmm.
What
Hmm.
is there's Ogre Fi, Onyx, and what else?
Quintessence.
Yep.
There's Quintessence. And then there were other names prior to, but now those are the top three, the only three: Ogre Fi Ogre, Quintessence, and Onyx. But it used to be where the classes could actually determine what their name was going to be. And so, for example, the class that was right before me, they were Dynasty. And we tease them all the time because they're the only class named Dynasty. The president's class, his class name was Radiance, and you'll hear him say they bring the
Yes.
heat. You know,
Yes.
he's a proud Radiance,
Come on, Ray.
member.
Hey.
And
So
so,
that's what I was thinking, that may be a good way to get them more involved as they challenge against those different class names.
I think it's a
yeah,
great idea and keeping that going. That fun rivalry. I've
yes,
Hmm.
seen other folks do, they've competed with like the Glee Club versus the band or the
Hmm.
mm-hmm,
cheerleaders versus,
mm-hmm,
and so people find ways to pivot. We haven't always done dorms, and
mm-hmm,
people come to me like, well, what if my dorm is torn down, or I was a commuter
mm-hmm,
student, or I was a transfer student? You go to the dorm, that you loved the most, or the ones you hung out in. Like I
mm-hmm.
said,
It's
at
all inclusive.
it's
Yes.
all
Right.
inclusive. At Hampton, we're not going to dorms. I think you're
Mm-hmm,
welcome if you want to stand outside of a dorm, if you want to approach students who are there. But we're directing people to alumni mixers on Friday. On Friday,
mm-hmm,
they've got different reunion, homecoming, mentoring mixers, alumni mentorship mixers. So the
mm-hmm,
School of Nursing, Scripps Howard, the Graduate College, HU Online, Sports Management, the James T. School of Business, School of Engineering, and School of Pharmacy are each having meetups at different locations, likely
mm-hmm,
wherever those departments, have most of their classes. And
mm-hmm.
we're encouraging alums not only to come and reunite, but also mix and mingle with the current students in those departments. It's a great place to accept the homecoming challenge.
Mm.
Absolutely.
Oh, definitely. Now, how can people find out when you're on campus? How can you find out about this challenge? Will you all have a booth or something like that at the bazaar? You know, because the bazaar is going to be happening on Friday. If you've never been have you been to homecoming before at Hampton?
I haven't been to Hampton's homecoming. I was too young.
Oh,
I was
well,
too young when I was around Hampton as a kid. Um, and so I've never been to Hampton's homecoming proper. So I'm
okay,
thrilled to be there.
okay,
Um, so yeah, no, I haven't been, and I'm looking forward to it. I'll be canvassing the campus.
okay,
Uh, we're going to be doing a broadcast of our own from Scripps Howard. Shouts
okay.
out to Dean Wilson, who has been incredible, as well as Dr. Newman, Dr. Inman, um, Calvin Harris. I think it's Michael White. other folks who have just helped us activate on
Mm-hmm.
campus. And so I'm going to be out canvassing. We haven't figured out everything just yet in terms
Mm-hmm.
of booths and things like that, but we've got some flyers to promote coming back and giving back, and also
Mm-hmm.
the homecoming challenge. So we'll be canvassing campus, and I'll be around with some envelopes, encouraging folks to throw a little cash and some information and just bless a student.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great idea, having the envelopes.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
People are always like, well, my dorm is torn down, or, I can't, I don't know what my room number is. One thing you're
Mm-hmm.
not going to have a problem finding is a student on campus that will take your money. They will be they have no problem saying, thank you very much.
You
I
won't have
appreciate
to fight them or track them down for it. It's not going to
Not
be
at all.
hard.
If you
Mm-hmm.
need help, let me
Mm-hmm.
know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's easy to find students, and I just think, a lot of times this generation is so focused, on their technology and devices, a bit more introversion than this organic like
Mm-hmm.
conversation. You
Mm-hmm.
can't you
Right.
can't text me this, boo, because you ain't got my number. We
Right.
about to have
Mhm.
this 5-minute interaction, and we gonna talk
Right.
about your life, your major, how your midterms were,
Mm-hmm.
uh, how does it feel to not have a curfew, all the
Right.
things. So
Mm-hmm.
you can strike up a conversation easily, and it's when people get to talking and they find out they have so much in common,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a great nostalgia piece for alums,
Mm-hmm.
to talk to students. I remember that first time I was in the CAF. I remember those first grades, right? I remember,
Mm-hmm.
that first year. I remember my first homecoming at Spelman. And it's great to reminisce, and it's great to share those things, both the positive and the negative, the struggles, and share your
Mm-hmm.
lessons learned. Share
Mhm.
your lessons learned with students. And students, in turn, don't be afraid to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Make that connection. Hey,
Mhm.
where do you work? I'm looking for a job this summer.
I need an internship.
Right.
Right.
Do you
Mm-hmm.
know anybody that you could forward my resume to? Um, you know, we're all here to help each other, and that's what it's really all about. Um,
Mm-hmm.
because so many people poured into us when we were coming up, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just, I feel like it's our obligation. That's our community obligation to pay it forward.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. And from personal experience, I would say, like I said, I'm still in touch with my big brothers, my big sisters, and all. But not only that, but faculty members, people that were on campus, they're still pouring into me in my life, and so that's what this whole experience is about. I have a question in terms of just testimonials, because these are the things that people need to hear about. Is there a website, social media site that people can go on and say, hey, listen, I did this for the first time, or I've been doing this for a good number of years, and just tell the experience so that others can read about those experiences and jump right on in.
Yeah, we're on Facebook or Meta at the Homecoming Challenge.
Okay.
And I'm also on at Dana Michelle, and we're also on Instagram. It's just at Homecoming Challenge, and Dana
Mm-hmm.
being Dana. But you can see testimonials and things on there. You're certainly welcome to tag. Part of our instruction is, to share your experience on social media, and that
Mm-hmm.
is to encourage other people to do it. Obviously, make sure
Mm-hmm.
you've got permission if you're posting pictures of other people, students and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. But people are usually very excited to share and to take a picture. You memorialize a pretty cool moment.
Mm-hmm.
The pictures I get, everybody's all smiles, and they
Mm-hmm.
are so happy because you get it real time, and they've just experienced this surprise, which is really nice. So I always ask my students, may I take a picture? May I share it on social media? And we absolutely encourage folks to do that.
Yeah, because that's amazing, and I asked that because I know one of the things in terms of just giving, and we look, like I said, we look for numbers, in the giving piece. But if I'm just sliding an envelope under a door, that doesn't make it to the alumni donor site, at
Right,
that point. But we
right,
can still capture that moment, even if we can't
absolutely,
capture that $20, so that someone else can see that giving is still occurring, and we're
absolutely.
giving back in some way, shape, or form. And I think overall, I think that does a lot more for the value added proposition when you talk about going to an HBCU, building those relationships, when students look at what experience that they may have or others may have had at that institution, and they see, hey, we have an environment, a village of people who care, not just that are there working, not those that are just on campus at that particular time, but we have a network across the board, that people
Absolutely.
are right there. If I wear traveling, I'm wearing my Hemp University shirt, or I had, an Ogre shirt or something like that on, or whatever. It's endless in terms of the number of people that I run into in the airport that recognizes the Hampton University, insignia, that recognizes Ogre
For
Fi
sure.
Ogre or something, and so that's the important piece.
It's
So,
a whole
That they will,
conversation.
mm-hmm,
and that they will bring back themselves and continue that. Because when it's happened for you, you feel obligated also to do those same things. And it's not more like an obligation, it's like you want to.
mm-hmm,
Absolutely.
You're naturally compelled to want to pay that forward and to do the same thing for someone else and get excited. I've seen people challenge to see who can do the best, like who,
Absolutely.
mm-hmm,
and I you can't out give humanity in that sense, especially during this
mm-hmm,
time frame. And I don't
Hmm.
mean financially, I mean just by just good energy, good,
Absolutely.
um
mm-hmm,
wishing someone actually well and really meaning it. Like, I don't
Yeah.
need anything from you specifically. I'm just glad that you exist and that you are here fighting this good fight. And I just want to encourage you to continue to stay in this battle. And
mm-hmm,
then and then representation matters. So they get to see what other people are able to do specifically, and then know that there's nothing different about me than what's in you. We came from the same place. You also can then go and do this as well.
Literally,
mm-hmm,
we came from this, we came from the same school,
mm-hmm,
if not the same freshman dorm room, the same
Hmm.
mm-hmm,
school. And we
mm-hmm,
have that in common. So I always tell my fellow alums that people don't recognize their dopeness. We're so into our lives in this sandwich generation, probably raising children, caring for our elderly, aging parents. Work is working. Karens are abounding
mm-hmm,
at the
Woo!
job site. All
mm-hmm.
kinds of things
Karens
going.
and the Calvins.
Mm-hmm.
Karens and the Calvins, all of them.
Right.
Mhm.
But you know, to a college freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, you are incredibly dope. You are incredible. You do all that.
Mm-hmm.
You're a mom. You got a podcast. You got a nonprofit. You're a lawyer. You do this. You do that. That's so cool. I would love to
Mm-hmm.
learn more about that. I get a lot of kids who are interested in going to law school, and I'm happy to have a conversation, right, about law school and the LSAT and all of those
Mm-hmm.
things. And we know how important relationships are, right? These
Mm-hmm.
kids on these iPhones and devices and stuff, they may not understand the full value of building relationship, but it's so
Mm-hmm.
important. And if we can teach them anything, we teach them nothing at Hampton besides building community, build your network through the homecoming challenge.
Mm-hmm.
That's worth $20. That's priceless nuggets of
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Worth every penny.
Mm-hmm.
every penny.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, it's the connection, because for me, meeting one of the original ogres, when we get an opportunity to sit and talk to them, it's amazing, and that they were the class of 1973. They came in Hampton into the doors of Hampton University in 1969. So to hear about a
You
lot of
better know your
stuff.
dates.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you. See, you have to understand what that really means.
Meant to
That's why
you,
I said
yeah.
there's no class like Ogre Phi Ogre. We are the only class at Hampton
Come
University.
on, August.
But that's the piece, So when you have an opportunity to, what I always say is, sit at their feet and talk to them and find out what the culture and climate was like at that time, it makes a big difference. I remember being in the airport, and I was traveling once again, had on a Hampton University sweatshirt, and I met a gentleman, and he said, hey, he started talking. He says, well, I went to Hampton. He said, but it was the Toot then. And I had never
Mm.
heard Hampton called the Toot,
The toot.
because
Yeah.
it was
The,
Hampton Institute. And
the two.
that's what they call the Toot. And I'm gonna tell you, when you find little nuggets out like that or whatever. So it's that kind of history that really, you're feeling like I know I'm connected to greatness, but when you hear stuff like that, you find some more rich history and all. It's almost like you can go to someone else and say, "Did you know about the toot?" And it's like, "Well, let me tell you about the toot." So it's cool. You're finding out a little bit more information about where you've come from, that personal history that makes a big difference. And I think that's the value of belongingness that I think we all need as humans, and so it's a great
And
experience.
And it's a reason why a lot of them come to a HBCU. I have so
Mm-hmm.
many students that their whole environment prior to HBCU was PWI,
Mm-hmm.
everything, and so
Mm-hmm.
they want to know how they are able to exist even amongst themselves. And they
Mm-hmm.
get to find out that you have similarities to people who are different than you. You have, it's
Mm-hmm.
just people are people, but you learn that there's different, you can interact with other people outside of just the ones that. And then you don't really get to find out. I attribute becoming a woman to Spelman. I didn't really figure
Mm-hmm.
out who I was or what I really wanted to do or what I truly was capable of until I got there. Because I was no longer Calvin's little sister or Terry's, or, like you get to have your own identity and figure those things out, who you are and whose you are. You
Mm-hmm.
really get to figure out whose you are. But,
Mm-hmm.
it's important. It's
Mm-hmm.
important. And so I am excited, Dana. I am just so excited. And I'm glad that we were able to bump into each other this summer.
It was kismet. It was meant to be. Which is just so crazy. We're connected on social media, but life is lifing and things happen. We're both parents. We're both
Hmm.
busy with life. We both have careers. I'm so proud of you and all the things because I remember you, from freshman year, right? You know,
Yeah.
we were young. We had our whole lives ahead of us and so
Yes,
much
indeed.
promise and excitement, and we look so well rested. You beautiful. You beautiful, sis. I'm over here just tired. But
Look,
to have
you
come
beautiful too, sis.
so far, and to see you and just strike up a conversation, 3 weeks before I was coming to Hampton, that you were there. And it's just, a professor. My girl is a professor. It's super dope.
Mm-hmm.
So, and as I said, people don't always recognize their dopeness. So thank you for what you both already do to pour into this generation, because it's important. It matters, and it's so valuable in ways. I have such fond memories of my professors at Spelman, the ones who
Hmm.
challenged me, the
Oh,
ones
yeah.
who made me struggle, um, and just professors at HBCUs really care.
Mm-hmm.
They really care. There is a passion for these young individuals, and it's a beautiful thing. And it's such a blessing. So yeah,
It keeps me signing my contract. I'm going to tell you that it keeps me signing my contract
I know
because
that's right.
I remember being told what I could never do. And
Mm-hmm.
so I take the greatest joy in telling them all the things that they can do, even the things that I cannot even imagine. And so it gives me great joy to do the opposite and to see them actually go on and thrive. And I tell my students, I don't want them to be like me. I want them to be better than me. I
Mm-hmm.
want you to, if you're still doing what I'm doing, you're not doing enough.
Mm-hmm.
Like we are supposed to be progressing. It's just you're scaffolding, you're teaching them the tools that you have so that they can then take those things and go to AI levels with it. So
Mm-hmm.
I am and I've taught both at HBCUs and at PWIs. And I
Mm-hmm.
can tell you there's nothing like my home by the sea.
I know that's
Mm-hmm.
wait, hold on, wait, hold on. Excuse me.
When I
Yeah.
say about teaching, I
I
didn't
just
say
playing.
about,
I just
okay,
playing.
don't play with me because everybody in this piece knows that they know it's nothing to see me walk through campus with a Spelman jacket
I
and
know that's
sweatshirt
right.
on.
I know that's right.
And I tell, it is nothing for them to hear me.
Yesterday.
Literally, you hear
The
what
day
I
before
say?
yesterday.
Down in the baby blue and white. And
Okay.
and I make no qualms in telling everybody what the number one HBCU is. But I say that we bring the best of Hampton to teach excellence. And so I'm from Hampton. And so I definitely had to come back and give to my own community.
It's
But
beautiful.
yeah.
Well, we are
Super
so
dope.
glad. It's awesome, And I'll tell you, it is amazing to be back on campus because I think about those professors who poured so much into me, coming to, Hampton as a freshman, just wide-eyed, just searching and seeking and just being a sponge and soaking those things up. The thrill for me was, of course, being able to teach alongside those professors who taught me at one point,
Mm,
over in the political science department at Hampton University, where you had Nobel Dickens, you had Dr. Mamie Locke, you had Dr.
mm,
Selah, so folks
mm,
like that, when I returned to Hampton to see those faces, it's almost like, they were proud to see you come back and give back.
mhm,
And still being
mhm.
able to have these conversations with them and still learn and glean from their experience and their knowledge is simply amazing,
And
to
they're
have
still
that experience.
supportive. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. Still learning. I was fortunate to have Dr. Joanne Haysborough, who was our retired
Mhm,
provost, as a professor, in graduate school, and the things she poured into us at that time, and then to be able to come back and work under her
mhm.
leadership was simply amazing. The things that she taught, and you saw the character, and and in terms of who she was, and that character has
Long
truly
term character.
transcended time,
Yeah,
which
that's
makes
what's
a
a
big
long term
difference.
character. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's those types of people and those relationships that I think makes the HBCU experience what it truly is. And that's what causes many of us to come back home to Hampton, because of what they gave. And those of us who didn't go to Hampton that may have attended an HBCU, I think that's the piece that causes us to want to continue to give back to an HBCU because of what we got out of it, And I liken that to what Dana's doing with this challenge. I'm just, like I said, I'm just in awe to be able to meet this person who, created the system of, hey, go back to your dorm. Like I said, it was like people said, do it. Sure, it's a great idea. Let's do it. But to see it formalized, it's amazing.
Pass the syrup. Pass the syrup. I thank you.
And it's enduring. So it's not
Yes.
so it's tried and it's true and it's
Mm-hmm.
natural. It's natural. So when she said she wanted to bring it to Hampton, I was like, okay, let's see if we can get it done. I didn't even know we could get it done as quickly
Mm-hmm.
as
Yeah.
it was done. I didn't even know that it could move that fast, but I
Mm-hmm.
knew that the spirit of it was
Mm-hmm.
rich, and I knew that the spirit of it was right, and I
Mm-hmm.
knew that the spirit would really do something for the students. And
Mm-hmm.
moreover, I think it'll do something for the alumni because it'll
Mm-hmm.
give them a reason to want to continue to come back so that they can
Mm-hmm.
continue to see those things. And for me, the word that just pops up is legacy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
just
Absolutely.
just
Yeah.
legacy. And you want the work that you've done to speak for you, and so being able to give back in that way, not that it's
Mm-hmm.
taken a whole lot from you, but just to be able to see then your legacy continue as they
Mm-hmm.
continue to do well.
Mm-hmm.
It's not
It's
that you
awesome.
birthed them, but you birthed them. So
Yeah.
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 Mm-hmm.
It's so
Yeah.
true. And Hampton is just such a special place. And so I'm thrilled that we've been able to move as quickly as we have. Um, it's the fastest activation that we've had, which has been incredible. So I thank my family, for giving me reason to come to Hampton and
Yes,
make it all
indeed.
possible. Um, my fiance was talking about, I think he was talking about financial aid and counselor and all that stuff for her, and really got the attention of the president, and
Mm.
facilitated that connection, and it just kind of went from there, which was incredible. So it's
Mm-hmm.
really good. The best activation we've had has been Xavier, and I'm thrilled. In a couple weeks, I'm going down to their homecoming because they're celebrating their centennial. And
Oh,
they called
nice.
me and they said, we just need another hype person, come and hype up. They do the great give back. And they
Mm-hmm.
also, not only do they have encouraged giving to the students, they
Mm-hmm.
open their dorms from 11 to
Mm-hmm.
3 on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
But they also have a food pantry where they accept donations for their food pantry, which they give to students and faculty in
Mm-hmm.
need at Xavier. So I
That's
love
a
how
beautiful
Oh.
idea.
it is
Yeah.
incredible. I love how it has grown. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm just truly thankful for the support. I don't get paid to do this. I don't, I spend my own dime. That's why I'm staying with my family. in Suffolk this week. But it's something that I'm passionate about. And if I can help be a catalyst, to spread the good word, to encourage others to give back, that's just a blessing in itself. And it's a great way to honor not only my friend who has passed, but all these other people, like as we get older, our list of class members who are no longer with us grows. It only grows. And, this is a way, like Dr. Williams said, to keep that legacy alive, to keep it going, to pour into the future, because all we have is us. And if we don't have us, who will?
Listen, like now you just said something that makes me think that even if you did not go to Hampton University, but you had a family member that went to Hampton University, you can still come back and give. You
And
can
that's
still come
exactly
back.
what
You
I'm
can
doing.
still come back and do the same thing in the name of the person that
Absolutely.
has already gone on. If you have somebody
Absolutely.
who worked at Hampton University and now they have passed, you can still come back and give in the name of that individual. That's
Listen,
still a part of their legacy.
if you drove past the university on the way to your job, you can give to the university.
Absolutely. If you can spell Hampton,
Right.
Okay. If you live in Hampton, right? I know that's right. But that, I just think that it can be all inclusive.
Yes.
It can be all inclusive because our students, in order to be the best, they need the best.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Makes a big difference. And like I said, giving it should just be a natural thing. And so I just love this concept. I love the mindset that it puts people in. I've seen this done even at other universities and all. And so I just think the more we put this out there, let it catch on like a wave, in
Let it
terms
be
of
contagious for sure.
exactly,
Yes, indeed.
that other
That's
people
my
can
hope.
continue to give, and we need this, especially HBCUs, because we're not in the same category with PWIs, and most of our HBCUs, we look at
We don't get state funding. Yeah.
exactly, you're a private institution, and so we live off of endowments and tuitions, and so number one, if you have the number of donors, that will attract larger corporations to say, hey, somebody's invested in them and they're invested in themselves. Let us invest in them also, because now guess what? You can see that we have a market. We have people who value who we are and value our legacy, and that's what will cause them to get involved as well. So we definitely need the number of donors to go up at our HBCUs. And so I know we're constantly encouraging our classmates, whether you get $5, $10, $10,000, we just need you to give. And that's the most important part. Just give back to the university.
Come back and give back.
Yes.
That's all. That's all we
Come back
ask.
and give back. And
I
if
love
you
it.
can't come back, send it by somebody who can.
That's true. That's true. That's what I do every year. I have people from HH, from the gang. You know, HH, Phi Beta.
Phi Beta to the day we die.
To the day
All
we die.
the dorms on the campus ask us why.
Okay. But I always donate, and I go to people's different rooms, and it's, that freshman year is so pivotal. Like, for us, there was one phone on the hall. Everybody, people had phone jacks in their rooms, but we spent countless days just in the hallways of our dorm, just talking. Like, I know everybody from the penthouse down the hall, just.
See, Dana spent countless hours talking to everybody. That was not my ministry.
Stick in your hand.
You see, my shirt today says, "Shh, I'm only talking to God."
But I remember you from HH.
Hello, somebody. Listen, I have times where I can be extroverted, but I'm truly an introvert. And I like my circle real tight. I'm sitting in a 2-seater, most days, because it's not room for all the extraness and everybody else. So, but I do appreciate the environment. I heard the people in the hallways. And I heard the love.
Absolutely.
And so that's why I say it's something out there for everybody.
There is.
Yeah.
And that's why we just want everybody to connect. You know,
Mhm,
the introverts can connect with the
You
extroverts.
hear what I'm saying? There's room
You
in
know,
the end.
the people from the north
mhm,
can connect from this people from the south, people from the
mhm.
Midwest,
east coast.
yeah.
There you go, all of it.
There's room in the end. That's the beautiful thing about HBCUs in general.
Mhm.
We open our arms, people from different countries and different places. There's room in the end.
Come here,
There's
Mhm.
give me
room
a
in the
hug.
end.
Give me a
Listen.
hug, sis.
Look,
Come
when
here.
I'm feeling better,
Come here.
sis,
Bring it
when I'm
in.
feeling better, I'm gonna bring it in.
Come on, come on.
I'm saying by Wednesday.
I was gonna say you only got a couple days. I'm gonna
Yeah, I'm
need you to
claiming
show
by
improve.
Wednesday. You know
I'm
that
gonna need you
I'm
to show
bringing it in.
improve.
All
I want
right.
you to join us. I hope you guys can join us for our broadcast on Wednesday. We're trying to
Yes.
go live,
All
which will
right.
be at 6 o'clock.
Mhm,
We're trying to go live at 6 from Hampton, but
mhm.
if not, it'll air shortly thereafter. But it is our promotion of the Homecoming Challenge. So I would love to have you both on there and joining us for the episode and talking
Mhm.
about giving back. That would be pretty cool.
The good
Well,
doctors will be in the building.
Yes, let's do
definitely.
it.
Yes, we will be
Let's
there.
do it.
Well, it has certainly been a time at the table today talking about my home by the sea, and giving. And so we will certainly be right there at homecoming. But I just want to thank everyone, of course, for listening to us today, as always, and being right here at the table. And I am Dr. Richard Mason.
I'm Dr. Tamara Williams.
Join us right back here next week on WHOV Smooth 88.1 FM for the most delicious hour in radio.
The essence of HU.
Keep your fork.
Someday we'll be able to measure the power of words. I think they are things. I think they get on the walls. They get in your wallpaper. They get in your rugs, in your upholstery, in your clothes, and finally into you.
Thank you for joining us at the table.
Tune in next Sunday at 1 p.m. for more delicious topical recipes for life on the Sunday Brunch.
On Smooth 88.1 WHOV.